Hey, good morning, Bruce. Hope you're doing well. Just a thought on Zdeno Chara, obviously coming back, but from your perspective, what was that, if you could look back on it, that Game 5 ovation like from your perspective, hearing that and just it was kind of a great moment in Boston sports. And what did that say maybe in your eyes about the relationship between Z and the fans?
Well, it was an unbelievable response for Z to be in the lineup, backing it up a little bit, just coming in the morning. And, we just assumed, or I just assumed he wouldn't be available to play. But he was ready to go. So, not surprised, but I guess the relationship was just, I think I know Bruins fans appreciate, the blue collar, the effort. They love skill and they love toughness and the blend of both, but they appreciate effort. Z always gave you 100%. So I do believe that had a lot to do with it for the Bruins fans. Just the fact that he was willing to get out there and do his part, whatever he was able to do that night. I think that's the biggest thing. And I think they also appreciate when he came here, put the C on his sweater, that, he had a goal in mind, how the Bruins were going to play going forward. And he achieved that. Made them a hard to play against defensive-minded Stanley Cup champion. He was a big part of that team. So I think that's where the fans appreciated Z and why they support him that day. And I'm sure if they were able to be in the building tomorrow, they would again. So it's a good story, and it's great for Z. And I guess that's my take on it.
Connor Ryan.
Hey, Bruce. I was wondering what you thought of Jack Studnicka's play the last few games, and do you think slotting him back over at center and perhaps keeping him there for the time being has helped him maybe settle in a little bit and maybe find his game a bit at the NHL level?
Well, yes, he's a center first, right? So we've kind of discussed this, that there wasn't a lot of room for him to play in the middle as our lineup was constructed. Could we move people around to accommodate him? Absolutely. Were we prepared to do that at the start of the season? No. So we'd liked our sort of three right shot centers, and Crowley is the fourth. Kretsch goes out. We've always said it. Kretschberg go out. Or Coyle for that matter. Let's try to get Jack in there in the middle and see how he's developed and progressed. And the opportunity presented itself. So now we liked what he did. To get back to your original point, he played very well in the middle, more noticeable in the middle than he was in the wing for obvious reasons, I think. So I guess looking back, it was a matter of then, do we want Jack in the lineup on the wing, or is he better just to go to Providence and play center? So we decided to put him in on the wing, right or wrong. And now he's back in the middle. And if Kretsch is healthy, we're still going to keep him in the middle because we like what he did, move Crowley to the wing and just sort of reevaluate our fourth line sort of role, or what it looks like a little bit, and see where it goes. Is it ideal for Jack to be a fourth line center? I don't always like to number the centers. So he's got to play his game in the middle no matter what. No matter who his wingers are. He just might see different starts, right? There might be more in his own end. He's got Sean who can take faceoffs in the left dot. So this will be good for his defensive game as well. So we'll see how he adapts to it. And then we'll go accordingly. If he can play with, different style of players like a Wagner, or might be Bjork, Crowley, whatever, as opposed to when he was with Frederick and DeBrusk.
Ludo Shinzawa.
Bruce, you put Jake back with David today, but it's still been a season where he gets hurt, David's hurt, Jake's playing his off wing, he's moving up and down the lines at times. But then you also say, especially for a player his age, some of the onus has to go on the player to perform. So when you add up those two pieces, where do you see Jake now? Is he snake bitten? Is he playing to his level, or does he have more to give?
Jake has more to give. I think he's had pockets of real good hockey and some inconsistent moments where he's not playing to his strength to affect the game. By that, I mean, turn some pucks over on the forecheck, attack and get inside ice when you have an opportunity, when maybe a vulnerable D one-on-one. Second effort around the front of the net, some rebound opportunities. I don't see Jake enough in the video after. I will go through the last game in New York, Fluto, where if you look at the goal that Charlie McAvoy scored, it starts with a face-off, yes, but, and Jake's not a center, but Bergie ends up at the front of the net and screens the goalie. And he's not there the whole time, but he's there when it's his turn to go there. And it's what he does so well. It's what that line does so well. And I think that's just what we want to see a little more of Jake. When it's your turn to be the inside net presence, stay there and don't get pushed out of there easily. I mean, sometimes you do at bigger opponents. So that's a little bit of the ask of Jake offensively. I mean, he's a good rush player. Certainly when he gets in all alone, has space. You know, he's got a shot that can beat goaltenders clean, but that doesn't always present itself. So that's what we're looking for Jake. As for the right side versus left side, I've said it before, Fluto, someone has to play there. So we look at our lineup, who is best suited, and we want to get all our guys in. If we want Freddie in the lineup, which we do, he's a center left winger. I think it's too big of a ask to go to the right side. Richie, to me, we've tried a little bit, but he's more of a left winger. He's good on the walls on that side. So it fell on Bjork and Jake to go over there. And at the end of the day, there was discussion with the player about that, and there was no discomfort for them. I still think it's easier to play on your strong side for most, but they were willing to go over there, which helps our team. But again, then I go back to the second part you said about it. The onus falls on the player, no matter who your center is, your other winger, just to line up and play hockey. And I think that's a little bit of what we're expecting from Jake. And yes, in the long run, it might affect some of your totals or some things, but you still should be a good hockey player. Once the puck drops when you're in the lineup, whether you're playing left or right. That's just my feeling on it. And we'll keep working with him. We're trying to build him into the penalty kill a little more now he does have a good stick and he's a smart player. So he could help us there if that's something that he gets invested in to keep him in games a little more, maybe when, we have to kill a little more or we don't get as many power plays.
Steve Conroy. Unmute yourself, Steve.
Hey, Bruce, just a little rundown on some of the guys. Tinordi, is he cleared to play and everything?
Yeah, he was obviously met his protocols to get on the ice and practice. So his tests are great in that regard. And then I believe whether he's on the roster, I think he has to be on the roster when you claim guys off waivers. So he's available to us. And we'll see tomorrow. I'm not going to tell you today he's in or not in. We'll have a conversation with him, see how he responds. He hasn't been on the ice a lot. He did drive a long way, but he may be ready to go. So I'm not going to rule him out, but I'm not going to say he's definitely in. Some of that also depends too on Grizz. He skated. How's he feeling? Is he ready to go tomorrow? So some of the other bodies that are available to us, even though they're different players, obviously, still some of it will be a domino effect once, we do find out from Grizz.
Yeah. Kasha was on the ice this morning. It's been a long road for him. Any idea when he might join the group?
I don't have an answer to that, Steve. Sorry. I'm glad he was out. It's good to see him back out there, but I have not been told when he'll join the group. No.
In Miller, any update on Miller?
Yeah, he's off. He's here. He's doing off ice. Obviously, will not be in the lineup tomorrow. Once he's back on, I'll give you a definite idea once he starts practicing with the team when he would be available. I think the hope is as the week goes on, he gets out there with us and then see where that leads for game wise.
Last question, Matt Porter.
Hey Bruce, was there an update on Krejci? Does he look like he'll be ready to go tomorrow?
He's like Grizz. He full team practice, did everything. So I've got to get together with the medical team and then they'll better assess how we did today. But until tomorrow morning comes, we won't make a decision because there could be residual effect. That's what happened to Grizz on the road. Just didn't feel great the next day. So until he feels good the following day after a skate, it's tough to say. And I would put Krejci in that category. So tomorrow morning I'll have a better idea.
Okay. And then I wanted to ask you about Wagner. How do you think he responded, to being out of the lineup and what more do you need to see out of him?
Well, I mean, he always practices hard. He's a hardworking guy. I never have an issue with his effort. To me, it was just, I didn't think he was impacting the game well enough. We decided to get some people's attention, put some other people in the lineup. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. At the end of the day, I thought our team, everybody in there responded well, played hard, played Bruins hockey. So whether changing the lineup had something to do with the win or not, I don't know. I like Kuhlman's game. I like McKegg, but who knows? They might have responded well too, Wags and Bjork. They're good people. They play hard. So until he gets back in there, it's tough to answer your question. Like I said, he practices well. So, if he's in tomorrow, I'd suspect he'd try to just, I guess the message, Matt, was to play more like Chris Wagner hockey, which is on the forecheck. I didn't think he was finishing as many checks, and he was a little bit hesitant. And some of that's reading off the other guys and not wanting to get caught. But at the end of the day, he has to play his game, be a straight line, hard-nosed guy. You know, when there's an opportunity to protect a puck in the O-zone, make sure you're hard on it and not throwing pucks away. In fairness to him, he starts a lot in his own end. So that's a big ask, but you know, that is the ask. So you've got to sort of embrace that role and get back to, you know, being his best version of himself. So when he gets back in there, that's what we're looking for. We're not expecting to run the power play or lead our team in scoring, but just be a little harder to play against.
Gotcha.
Thank you. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, and then lastly, the assumption, given Patrice's, you know, age, experience, and kind of his, you know, de facto co-captain role with Z over the last number of years, the assumption would be it's his team, and that's been seamless. Have you seen that? Is this Patrice Bergeron's team?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think they both obviously, you know, I haven't been here the whole time Bergie was a co-captain or PA, so I can't speak to 10 years ago, but since I've been here, I know that it's been a shared responsibility. When, you know, we talk about anything that needs to be discussed with the leadership group, it usually goes through one or both of them. Sometimes I just talk to Bergie if it's a forward issue, sometimes just Z, obviously, but most of the time it's a team-wide issue. So, you know, that'd be the both of them. So, and now obviously with Z gone, I do believe it's more of Bergie's team. I wouldn't forget about some of the other guys that have been here a while. Kretsch is a little quieter. Marshy's more vocal now, and you see Tuukka's been here a long time. So those guys certainly have a say in it. But good example of that, Matt, was the other night, first shift of the game. Bergie on the forecheck finishes Lindgren hard, who had been hard on our skill guys the night before, his line for that matter. So he sent a message early that we're here to play, and that's where I see you know, great leadership attributes in a game that we knew we had to play, you know, better and being really invested, and he sort of pulled the guys into it right away.